Hi guys, Dragoneither and Housefriend here, doing a post YCS Sydney report on how his deck went and blah blah blah, this other stuff, and how I went. This is my man. No, I didn't go. It didn't take me a long time to find one of these. I didn't buy this.
You didn't spend a lot of time running around to get it.
Well, technically I did. Spent about 12 hours over 2 days running around to get this. Because this is my mat. This is the one I got for judging at YCS Sydney. Speaking of that, I'm now also RC2. That was the first time they offered RC2 tests in Australia. So,
For those of you who don't know what RC means,
ruling comprehension, and basically level 2, which is the highest ruling comprehension they offer at the moment. So, as far as I know of. So yeah, I'm quite diseased at the moment.
Ebola.
Let's hope not. We did actually have a video of me opening this and unwrapping it.
The video sort of like died.
My camera kind of died in the middle of recording it. I didn't realize it had no battery left. So if we're gonna show it, we'll probably like cut into it now. Anyway, I'm gonna open this up for you guys.
Brand new Judge mat? Yeah.
This is my brand new Judge mat. And no, I will not sell this. All mats that I earn, I get, are my trophies.
Wash.
The Shekinah mat's another story, but
Oh
I'm
man,
trading
that has
it
a
right
weird
now.
smell.
Can't smell it. That's so gay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's hope editing software it has our back on this. So yeah, so Housefriend was the only Medolce player to make it to day 2 out of 9 other ones. So there was 10 Medolce players. The deck list breakdown was 122 Shadows, 90 Bending Abyss, 68 Cliffords,
Something like 63
I think it was like
Satellas.
52 Satellas.
Yeah, something.
And then there was like just some other like 10 to 20 like.
There were like
Knights,
I think there were like
12
16 Evil Swarms or something.
something like that. 12 Noble Knights, 10 Dolce, like 23 Yangzings or something. No Noble Knights made it to day 2. I must admit though, I went around and watched most of the Noble Knight players. They were really bad.
This one guy was running Paraderp.
One of the guys was running Paraderp. Another one was running Cards Colosseum. Now, Cards Colosseum is a very old tech for the deck, but you do not not any longer need to run it. And to win more, the problem is you need to be winning in the first place for it to be useful. And that's the problem. That you need to be winning in the first place for it to be useful. And the deck is already, if I'm in first place, I'm going to be probably winning pretty well. So, that's a useless tech.
Yeah. Anyway, so
he came. Housefriend here came.
I came
54 overall out of 650 players. There was more at the start of the year, but I think the reason why there wasn't so many now is there wasn't a lot of time for people to prepare.
Yeah, because like 2 ICSs in a year for Australia is like, I mean, we had our first one in January.
This is our second one.
This is our second one. So, I mean, if people weren't expecting it, they may have been short on funds to travel and for accommodation and stuff.
And it's near Christmas, and a lot of people can't take time off so close to Christmas.
Yeah,
you know.
And also some people might already be away on holidays with their family.
Yeah, it's just hard timing for.
Yeah. Whereas January was a good time because it was like after Christmas, after New Year's, everyone was still on like holidays from uni, work, school, etc. So it was a good time for a bit more of a showing.
Yeah. But in the end, the event was quite good and it ran quite smoothly. We managed to get things done in record time, apparently. Sorry about me.
Definitely a bowler.
Definitely a bowler. Yeah, things went pretty nicely at the event. It was very fun to judge at. I think I got appealed 3 times, and only 1 time was the appeal successful. I got appealed like 4 times, and only 1 time was it successful. And that was just the timing of when after Dante detaches, when the effects of the monsters go off. I knew the one that he detached didn't go off until later, but I thought the other ones did. But
they all go off in a new chain.
But yeah, they all go off in a new chain. But to be fair, like there's not any other judges in my area or anywhere near my area, so I've had no one else in the past to really like try to get experience from. So that's
Self-learn.
Okay. Yeah.
Self-learn.
Everything else was good. I had one guy, right? I had someone call me over. He was playing Cliff Orts. His opponent had Ragnar Zero out, and he called me over, and he said, "I know some of this out. My opponent killed off with the Ragnar Zero. Is this right?" But before he said that, he was like, "Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. It's okay." He sent his Cliff Ort to the grave. I was like, "Hang on, just let me read this." And Cliff Orts state that when it's normal summon or without tributing or special summon, that their original attack becomes X. And Ragnar Zero's effect is when a monster's attack is changed from their original attack, you can destroy it. And I ruled that the Ragnar Zero couldn't destroy it because it was its original attack. It changed its original attack to a new original attack, which is therefore its original attack. Of course, I got appealed, but the assistant head judge said that I was correct, and that guy also got a warning. But that's side of the point.
Yep.
The point was, there was a lot of interesting things that went on that day.
Point is, read your cards.
A lot of people can't read their cards. One of the guys from my locals he got attacked by BLS 4 times and didn't call judge
because he didn't read his opponent's cards. To be fair though, like he's been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for like 3 days.
3 days.
Three
Yeah.
days.
But still, it's like if you don't read someone else's card.
If you don't know, read.
Oh, the amount of times as well. I had people that didn't realize that if you special summon a Burning Abyss or normal summon about a Burning Abyss, and you have something that isn't Burning Abyss on the field, it gets destroyed. The amount of times I had to go over those cases with both players not realizing that. It's like, how do you get so far into a tournament and not realize your own card's effects? Like, how do you play Burning Abyss and not realize that if your Burning Abyss monsters are out and your opponent and you have another monster which isn't a Burning Abyss or face down, like they get destroyed. And another thing was, especially with House Ren and a couple of his matches, something really funny happened. Like, people didn't properly read Tiramisu, and you're allowed to read your opponent's cards. That's part of the game. You're supposed to know what their cards do. You're supposed to read your opponent's cards and know what they do. They didn't read what Queen Tiramisu does, and two Shadow players special summoned out Yazi,
thinking that I couldn't get rid of it. And then I'd use their effect, and I'd be like, I'll spin these 2 back, and they're like, you can't target it. I'm like, she doesn't target.
Did either of them call judge?
No, because
they actually read it.
They sat there and they read it properly, and they're like, oh shit, oh, I'm like, sucks, man, that sucks.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who couldn't read their cards or their opponent's cards, and just. I was really quite surprised that about that there was apparently, I didn't actually see this, but apparently in like the top 4 or something there was someone who had a BLS out and he attacked into his opponent's construct.
Yeah, top 4, right? Dude attacks construct with a BLS, and the Shadow player that was running that had the constructs just like your BLS dies, and he's like, what?
How could you not like know that or read that or something. Like at least read it. If you don't know it, at least read it. But if you're top 4 in a big tournament, you probably should know that stuff. Though it is hard with nerves and stuff. House right here got into a feature match, and he should have won that as well. It was against Burning Abyss. One single misplay.
Yeah,
and he realized it as soon as he did it, like literally as soon as he did it. But
yeah, not even like a split second. Like as soon as I'd done it, I realized, and I even asked the judge if it was
head judge. The head judge is watching this point in time.
Judge, yeah, I even asked, and he's like, "No, you can't take that back," just because I'd already initiated the next part of the effect, so it was too late. But like that's the thing. Like
he had an Angelic, and he put it back into his deck. He's like, effect. He puts it back in, shuffles once, and he goes, "Oh, can I add it to the hand?" And the head judge says, "No, you've already done that." And he's like, "Shit." And if he had added it to hand and used Ticket's effect to add Mew to his hand, he would have won that game. He would have won the feature match, and most likely would have been in the top 32 because he would have been 7-1 at that point.
7-1, yeah. So like it just goes to show you can make one misplay and it can cost you the whole game. It can cost you a whole round, and also just like from that, like sure I made a misplay, but like you learn from it, sort of thing.
You are on a lot of pressure from that. The other important thing to point out there is you can win these events purely based off your player's skill. Now, I'm not saying that Madolches aren't good or anything, but when you compare them to the tier 1 decks, you know,
they're a bit underpowered. They can miss timing. They don't have as many power plays. They're easily stopped because they are combo based, not so more just effect based.
Yeah, like I watched your opponents let you go through your plays, and obviously didn't know what you were doing or what you were trying to accomplish. Whereas I would have known straight away, "Nah, stop that." Like, knowledge is also power. I hope that's not a My Little Pony reference.
Probably not. No.
I know friendship is something.
Friendship is magic.
You stupid. Yeah, he's a brony.
No, I'm not. I just like the show. Okay, so like knowing what cards do is key to doing well in this game, and like taking in a rogue deck was like one of my main, I guess you could say, determining factors
of why he did so well. Because
not so much why I did so well, why it influenced. Like I could have easily ran BAs. Like I had most of the deck. I could have just sourced like an extra Dante and Virgil and finished it off as quickly as possible. But I went in there with a rogue deck, knowing that most of my opponents would either read my cards and still not understand them properly,
or not read them,
at all because they couldn't be bothered, and then just let me do what I want. So also the fact that Tiara doesn't target or destroy is a good, I guess you could say, anti-meta card. She gets around a lot of things in the meta at the moment, so...
But that's not important for this video. We're just trying to do a report on what happened at the event, not so much each specific card.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're very smart with the game and very knowledgeable, you can get much further than anyone else. And that's quite apparent, the fact that House Ren was the only person playing Madolches to get to day 2. And he was very, very close to getting... he ended up going 7-3. Yeah. Unfortunately, he could have won the feature match, which meant he would have been 7-1 before the last 2 games. And I'm sure he would have won at least one of them. He could have... Except that one misplay, he could have easily got to the top cut. Whereas the other Madolches were just left way behind. Apparently there was one guy as well who actually watched one of the videos.
Yeah, there was round 2. I went up against the mirror, and the dude recognized my mat from previous videos. And he was like, are you playing Madolche artifacts? I'm like, oh, maybe.
I was like, oh, I looked up your videos.
And I'm like, oh, alright then.
Yeah.
So we played the mirror. He was running hand variant just because he didn't
have the money
and cards to run artifacts. So that was round 2.
But anyway, we're going to get into some of the text that I told you to run. That part of that knowledge part is where I came in to tell them, hey, look, when you want to beat certain decks, these are the cards you need to run your side and extra. And Where are they? So we can put them out like we did before.
Oh, which ones? Which ones do we want?
That one, the one on top,
We want this one, this one.
and Solemn.
Ah,
And the one on the back part of your extra.
yeah.
Unfortunately. Oh, not the fucking common.
Haha!
Scrub.
Haha!
Scrub it up, dub. House friends in the tub.
Commons, nothing wrong with them. They don't bend.
Alright, so. I told you to take 3 of these cards.
Mm-hmm.
And
He
one
told
of
me
them-
to take the Solemn Warning. I was already running the Shekanaga.
I was running Shekanaga, but not Super Poly.
Yeah.
I was like, I just wanted my opponents to like fear if I ever brought this out, which I couldn't. No. It's kind of like this when I told him how to tech. Now, his worst matchup is Shadows. So I said, look, when you come up against what you do is, you start in Super Poly, and you have Shekanaga already in your extra. Because 9 out of 10 times...
I have an Earth Monster on the field. 9 out of 10 times.
No. 9 out of 10 times, you'd go into Tiara or Levier, and maybe Invoker. That was your major plays. Almost nothing else.
Not
So,
really.
Having a lot of other things you had... Did you even go on Abyss Dweller once? Once. You went on Abyss Dweller once.
I went into
What-
Abyss Dweller once.
How many times did you go on Heartland Draco?
Once, had to sit on it.
What about your other ones? How many times did you go on half of them?
Okay, so... never went into Pallades just because I never actually got out
to Moral Tarts.
Yeah, it was just in there as a, if I can get it out, I can get it out. I went into Castel once.
Just go quickly through it, like,
Yeah.
just say what you did or didn't.
Went into Down It a lot. Went into Alucard twice. Cowboy once for game, which was
Yeah,
hilarious.
It's fine, yeah.
Leviers I went into. Queens I went into. Invoker I went into once, just
Yeah.
because I didn't have a Levier play.
Yeah.
Acid Golem I didn't need to go into because I didn't verse any Cliffort players at all that day.
But it's still good to have in there.
Yeah, and Draco I went into once, and Zen Means I went into twice.
Okay, so everything's about once, but this is another story because you could have potentially gone into it 4 times.
Four
Every
times.
single time you drew Poly, Super Poly. Now the important thing is,
Well, not every time. I drew it four games out of 7 that I versed Shadows. 3 of those games I didn't have to use it, but it was there if I needed to.
yeah, it's definitely good to have it there if
Yeah,
you need it.
and then the one game I could do it, the dude's just like, oh, I'll make a 3rd construct by turn 2 and kill it. I'm like, oh well, I'll just scoop this. This sucks.
The important thing is you can also take their Shadol and their Earth Monster. So you can take their Shekanaga and another Shadol. You can take their Construct
And
and another Shadol. And when I say Shadol, you can take 2 Shekanagas. You can take a Shekanaga and a Construct, Shekanaga and a Window.
But you can. There's so much you can do with this card. You can take so many. There's so many different options you can do with it as long as you've got the right fusion. And like, you don't even need to be running Shadols.
Yeah, you can use your opponent's monsters, or up to as many as they have that you can use for the fusion. You can use them. And the other thing I wanted to go over was that after the event, we agreed that you probably should have had Construct in there as well.
Yeah. If you had have mentioned it, I probably would have tried to grab one before the event, but
Yeah.
didn't really. A, think, and B,
Because
everyone I was talking to didn't actually have a spare one. So.
because one of the best things that you can do with that is you can Super Poly Denko and
A Shadol.
Window.
If they lock you out with Denko and Window, you can remove both of theirs and make a construct, and then
And
go
the
off,
other thing is you can also just take one of their Shadols and take your Mortark.
make a construct.
Yeah. So those options are always open. That was mainly for the Shadol matchup. What else?
Book of Moon was there for the BAs, really. And like game 2, you take it out for Solemn Warning because Solemn's dead most of the time. Game 2, like if you open Solemn Warning and your opponent has 2 Dantes on the field, you're just like,
No. Solemn Warning is bad because you Solemn Warning the first Dante, they still make another 2. That's why it's bad. However, if they God,
if they
if they play Tour Guide and they bring something out, You book a Moon tour guide, and they're screwed. Like I've been trying to say, tour guide is the biggest weakness. It's probably the biggest strength, but also the biggest weakness in a Burning Abyss deck. So you book them in the tour guide once it brings something out, and they're stuck with a monster that can't do anything, can't go into synchro, and a set monster, face down monster, which is therefore not a Burning Abyss. So if they bring out another Burning Abyss, that goes immediately to the grave.
So they can't really do any plays off of that one play that they tried to make.
Yeah. Or you compulse what tour guide brings out, so they're stuck with on a tour guide, or a myriad of other things you can do. Basically, you side out Solemn Warning for Book of Moon if you come up against Burning Abyss. Oh god, I think I'm going to cut this short.
Get some water.
Get a lot of things. Get some less Ebola.
Get some less Ebola, yeah.
Alright, so I don't know what else there is to even talk about at the moment.
I guess like my rounds.
Oh yeah, your rounds. You can go into that. I'm gonna lie down and stop the Ebola.
Stop the Ebola.
Hashtag stop the Ebola, guys.
So round one, I went against against Shadows. I drew none of my main board outs game one, so that was pretty sad. And then game two, I started in the Shadow Imps and the Super Poly, and I didn't draw into any of my Vanities or the Shadow Imps, so I pretty much lost it right off that. So from round one, I was on the bubble, and then round two, I went against the Mirror, like we mentioned earlier. Ended up winning that. Then game round 3, 4, 5, I went against Shadows. So 3 rounds in a row. Ended up beating those. And I went to Burning Abyss in the 6th round, putting me to 5-1. And then by round 7, I was 6-1 versus another Shadow player. And that was the end of day 1, so I finished on 6-1. And then going into game 2, at day 2, I had the feature match first up, like we mentioned earlier, and I lost it just by a simple misplay. And yeah, so that put me to 7-1, 6-2. Then after that, it was against
another Shadol player.
Another Shadol player. Who?
Did you know that Shadows is your worst matchup?
Yeah. Shadows are the worst matchup, and I ended up versing 7 of them by the end of the 10th round, so that wasn't very fun for me. So yeah, I ended up versing Shadows again. Once again, didn't draw into any outs, so pretty much scooped it after he MST my Vanities play in round 2 and just went to the next game, and then not much else to do there. Ended up losing that one, and then I won my 10th round, putting me at 7-3. By the end of the event, top 32 consisted of everyone that went X2 and 3 players that went X2 and 1. So even if I did go X2 and 1 or was really lucky and went, yeah, if I was really lucky and went X2 and 1, there was a very slim chance that I would have made top 32. So going X3, I was definitely out. Then yeah, so not much else happened besides that. Went and did public events, did a winner mat, did a winner box with some mates. And besides that, it was just a fun weekend. There wasn't really much to say besides that one misplay I did that I would have liked to have changed. Like round 1, sure, I bricked. Things happens. And then round 9, I bricked. Happens. So you can't really complain if you brick. It's just natural Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, the only thing I would have changed is that one misplay, and like we said earlier, I realised what I'd done just a split second too late, so I ended up losing for that. What else is there to mention? I was a bit disappointed that I didn't get to verse any Clifford players. I didn't get to use like 4 or 5 of my sides for the Clifford match just because I didn't verse them.
I was really surprised you didn't come up against Clifford's at all.
Yeah.
That was kind of unlucky for you.
Yeah, and the deck has a favourable matchup against Clifforts and BAs, and only versus 2 BAs and 1 Cliffort, so that wasn't really great.
Talking about the BA matchup, you had one really excellent play as well. So, the BA opponent plays
Phoenix Wing?
You know summon Angelic. This is where you would have had the Mew if you brought that. You know summon Angelic. His opponent plays Phoenix Wing Blast. You chain Trap Stun. They chain Fire Lake, sending both their Dantes to the grave. And then
and then I flipped a wire tap.
When you flip wire tap, everyone standing around the table just like kind of turned around. I was like, shit.
Yeah, my opponent, I read it off of his face while we were doing it, and I flipped the wire tap, and I just, like, his heart dropped. His heart dropped.
Oh, yeah.
That was the one big play I made. Well, not big play, but like one turn.
That was like one of the best plays, setup plays anyone would probably see at the whole event.
Yeah. The fact that it was so strong is that, like, I read, like, he had 4 set back row, right? I read that he would Fire Lake after I trap stunned. I didn't think he read that I had a wire tap. He was probably expecting another trap stun.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, so
that's another reason why you run 2 trap stuns to wire tap, because you can do that combo where you trap stun and your opponent does something and you wire tap that. So you wire tap their second card and then trap stun resolves for the rest of the turn.
Yeah. The thing that makes it so powerful is you end the chain where you want it, and you get to resolve your trap stun. So, like, if you can read your opponent and you know they will try and do something else afterwards, like one game, I think I was versus one of the Shadow games, Sinister Shadow games, or Artifact Sanctum or something, then I trap stunned, and then he did the other one, so I can't remember which order he did it in, but yeah, so he had 2 of them. And I trap stunned after he did one, and then he used the other one, and I wire tapped, so he didn't get any of his, and then, like, my trap stun resolved, so even if he had more traps set, he wouldn't have been able to do anything, and then from there I just went off and won that game. Yeah, so, like, it's a very good power play, and it's very underlooked, just because people don't expect the trap stun into wire tap combo.
There's not a lot of decks that combo is actually, incredibly useful as well. Like, your deck's probably one of the best ones to use in the Dolces. I probably wouldn't ever see myself playing in Noble Knights, to be honest. Plausible, but I doubt it. But yeah, definitely yours. That's like, because you then send 2 back in the deck if you can get the play off. Definitely was worth it. Anyway, I think that does just about wrap most
of the YCS coverage up for whatever we remember a few days later.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been quite sick, so because I ran myself down too much after the event on the Sunday night, because Sydney trains decide to run only once every half an hour, so to get 3 train stops away took like an hour and a half each way. So I wasn't feeling well after that, but yeah, I got a fair few videos to put out for you guys over the next few days.
To record and
we got a few more to record, like his profile, and then a little update for it as well.
A little update on the profile, and then just things I would have changed.
And yeah, so we'll come back to you with that stuff later. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe. Hopefully this video was a little bit was alright. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm sick, so it's not going to be fluent from my part. But yeah, hope you all.
If you want to know any extra info, or just want to make a comment, just drop it below, and we'll get back to you guys.
And this mat is not for sale.
Definitely not for sale.
I treat all my playmats that I get as prizes, except for the exception of the Shekinah mat, because that's trying to just like give away.
Pay $25, get a mat.
Yeah. Well, I just got it for judging. I treat all my mats as trophies. So obviously,
sneak peek ones.
Sneak peek ones, judge mats. Ones I earn or win. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a nice